Hello, welcome to CJRU Artist Review. I'm Kejo Buchanan, coming in from Toronto, Toronto, a dish with one spoon territory. And today, my guest of a folk roots Afro soul band is currently out close to the Georgian Bay area. Welcome, Amai from Amai Kuda et Les Bois.
Thank you so much. An honor to be on the show.
Thank you so much for taking the invitation and for sending out the invitation. And if you want to just reintroduce yourself and let us know where you're coming in from, or can tell us about the tree behind you, or whatever works.
Sure. So my name is Amai Kuda of Amai Kuda et Les Bois, and I'm a musician, a singer-songwriter. It's sort of my project is sort of a solo project, but as in I write and record most of the stuff, or I write everything on my own generally, or I'm the sort of creative head behind it. But essentially, I've used the name Amai Kuda et Les Bois to encompass the fact that there's a lot of spirit beings and energies that are part of the project as well. So the Les Bois is, French for and the woods. But also, I also do tend to involve different people in the project at times. And on this most recent album, my son is involved, and I'm co-producing songs with a co-producer. And so, yeah, kind of the Les Bois kind of leaves space for whoever works with me in this creative movement, as I call it, because it's the intention is to help bring good energy to the world through music, which I think is what music is meant to be about, and so to move us forward.
Amazing. So it's you and your collective, physically and spiritually. Awesome. That is wonderful. And I know you're joining me today to talk about EmUrgency, your recent album. But before we deep dive, do you want to take a moment just to speak on a little bit about the influences that brought you to where you are today musically?
Sure, like musical influences, specifically.
Yes. Yeah.
Sure, yeah. The first one that comes to mind is Otis Redding.
Ooh.
Big Otis Redding fan since I was younger. I just remember like being in high school and like I was supposed to be doing my homework and I'd be dancing around to like Motown songs, the Supremes, like that was the thing. And I was like, I know I was like a good student or whatever, but somehow that was the thing that was really pulling me. And so I always think back to those moments and think like, yeah, that was a good use of my time practicing my vocals with all those classic Motown artists. Like Otis Redding, the Supremes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Mahalia Jackson is another one, not so much Motown, but I think her music like really, I think it's the closest thing that I listen to sort of the field songs that I mean they're not field songs, it's gospel, but it's like I think it's like the cousin to the field songs that sort of then that vibe began to really come out in a lot of my earlier work when it was like especially as I started I was playing, like I didn't play that much guitar, and so some of the stuff was just like vocal and clapping and stuff like that. So then it was really pulling on that, I think that influence, but also more that ancestry, right? So Mahalia Jackson, who else can I list? I'm also a Bjork fan, big Bjork fan. I think
Nice.
I think listening to Bjork as a young person, like it just expands your understanding of what music can be, right? Like she's not
Yeah, you need that avant-garde futurist type of sound once in a while. I could see that. I could see that for you. Yeah. That's beautiful.
And Lauryn Hill was another one we used to perform at all the what do we call it, talent shows at high school. We would perform,
Yes.
right? Me and my friend would perform like Lauryn Hill covers. Lauryn Hill or Bob Marley were pretty much our go-to.
The staples, right? Those are the ones.
Yeah.
I do remember those days.
Yeah.
Memorizing every single word. You can't go wrong with Lauryn Hill. You just can't. Well, that says a lot. It says a lot about how you really like bring things together in your music. And yes, I'm just like thinking of 1,000 different Otis Redding songs in my head right now. I'll probably hit you up with some of your favorites later. But
okay.
But thank you for sharing that. And so did you like progress. So you've done a lot of vocal and you've done a lot of clapping, and that's your instruments. Have you played around with any other instruments in the meantime?
Well, I do play a bit of guitar. Like when I perform, I have over the years generally performed about half of my songs with, or actually sometimes more than half with guitar. But like I'm not a guitar player. Like I'm not a guitarist. Like I kind of have. It took me a while to really accept that, because I wasn't really my skills. Like I'm okay. I can hold my own. Like mostly, but then I think what would happen is I get very anxious on stage because yeah, I didn't yeah, my skill level wasn't just at that place, and so it would be taking away from my experience of sharing the music with people. And so I'm more recently shifting away from performing with guitar. Like I'll play it at
Hmm.
home and stuff, but yeah, I want to on stage, and with people, I want to be able to just really be in my element, which is the singing, and yeah, and continue with that. I also play a bit of percussion, so yeah, on
Hmm.
stage generally. For a long time, I was mostly performing, or mostly we kind of formed a bit of a duo, myself and a percussionist singer, Y Josephine. So on stage, it would just be like it was all acoustic, and it would just be, one of us with guitar and one of us with a percussion instrument, like either cajon or drum. So that was our vibe for a long while. And now things are just being mixed up a lot, right? Like uh, there's definitely guitar in many of the songs. Some of them have more electronic stuff. What else? Yeah,
That's
there's
amazing.
so many.
Yeah. You have
I
a
feel like
lot of
we'll get
different
into it later.
accompaniments. Those are the Les Bois, but you're about the voice and the percussion. That's beautiful. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. You're coming straight from the heart, right? Right here, and it comes through in the percussion itself and your own
yeah,
voice. That's yeah. At least you know yourself. And I guess that's part of the discovery. And you may know that I do have a show called Jali Journey, which is like that folk acoustic terrain of sounds. And it's named in the spirit of the Jali, the traditional West African griot, the praise singer, the storyteller, the advisor. So I want to know what your advice is for fellow storytellers on this unconventional path out there.
yeah. What's my advice? Thank you for giving me that opportunity. I would say, just to really tune in, to both the self and the fact that the self is more than the self. Like we are all connected to, you know, these long, like millions of ancestral beings. We are all made up of the same elements that the earth is made up of. And so I think when we get the opportunity to really connect in that, for me, that usually happens with trees, hence the choice of the Les Bois and the choice of the location. Yeah, with trees and with water. But like whatever it is, whatever part of the natural world people connect to, I think spending as much time with that, and in order to, connect to our own deeper nature, I think that would be my recommendation, because there's so much going on in the world that can like easily pull us away um from health and from groundedness and well-being and self. And so yeah, just kind of that reminder to, like, sometimes shut the phone off, put it away, and just like go sit out under a tree and take the time to like remember who you are, and all that you're connected to. And yeah, that would be my universal advice. I think you can't go wrong with that.
You really can't. And I just wanted to say, as you're speaking, all I hear is the birds accompanying you in the background. And just for listeners, it's like, yes, I'm seeing this beautiful woman sitting in her element and all your elements. And you're right. You picked the right elements for yourself. Le Bois is perfect. And yes, say hello to the birds for me out there. They sound so wonderful. They're like, they want to participate too. And they are. So thank you. That was beautiful advice and set to the right tone. But would you mind getting into EmUrgency a little bit? Did
Yeah.
you want to highlight any main things in the collection of EmUrgency?
In terms of the themes or the song specifically, or I could do
Well,
both.
yeah, let's start with the themes first.
Yeah. I think for me, like, to be honest, I usually, like, the songs just kind of come out, and they just like, I'll be walking around and song ideas come, or sometimes when I'm connecting with nature, song ideas will come. And then, it's like you compose the songs, and then they sort of come together, or I sort of bring them together afterwards and say, okay, no, this is a collection of like related works, or like works that speak to a period of my life. So just to sort of give some clarity on the process, in terms of like, it wasn't like, okay, I'm setting out to write like songs about this. So it's, they just kind of emerge from a moment in life, or a period in life. And then afterwards I tend to sort of find meaning after the fact. Like for me, that's also, I mean, a tip I would share with people, at least in terms of something that's worked for me, is like sometimes being less, um, I guess creatively, I find like not working from that place of like having a specific purpose, that the conscious mind is, but allowing, I guess, again, allowing the sort of either subconscious or spirit voices, or whatever it is that people how they want to describe it. So um, I think, again, like the allowance of the music to come out, and then looking back and seeing what's there, sometimes I find an effective tool to not force things, to be more integritous. So when I look back at it, I was like, okay, this all is speaking in different ways to, again, as usual, spiritual themes, like connecting to nature, spirits. But there was a tone in it for me, and in what was going on in my life, in terms of this urgency around emerging.
Ah,
Which, yeah, which I think, I think it's a universal theme. I think like every story from the beginning of time, there's some aspect of that there too, right? In terms of like the hero's journey coming into themselves, right? So that is, I think, something that everybody can relate to, the sort of the need to sort of either find yourself, or be willing to be yourself in public, right? And share who you truly are. But there's other layers to it, I think, that as like an African descended woman, as a spirit medium, like all the different roles that I play, as a community organizer who's like working on um, making space for community healing for people of African descent. There's a way that I know that I struggle with a lot of insecurities around all those things, and like being out there, or even like I'm saying, this sort of self-consciousness on stage or whatever. So there was a part of it that was like um, about this push to just like really come forward, right? To without fear, and
yes.
without hesitation, and just
Ah.
put the truth, my truth, out there, without any kind of um, filter or fear. Sorry, I hope that makes
No,
sense.
it's beautiful. Everything you just said. It's like, yeah, to have that assertiveness and reconnect, with that understanding of African culture is so important. I am a person of the Maafa as well. And so I understand, obviously, with naming my show Jali, it is so important for me to really get out there and understand what was missing in my education. And I've had some great leaders around me who have, dropped seeds and ideas, but I realize I'm at that stage where I really have to take that assertiveness and control and understanding it. So, yes, thank you. And thank you for creating that and sharing that. That's so important. Those teaching tools are just so important. So, thank you. Thank you so much.
Sure. And sometimes we don't, we sort of, so just to add to what you're saying, like whether it's your show, or our music, or whatever it is we're doing, sometimes it's like we believe in it, and that's why we're doing it. But at the same time, there's still a layer of like hesitation. Like, is it worthy? Is it good enough? Because it's not
Yes,
necessarily getting the recognition that I think much of our stuff deserves, or many of our voices deserve. And so that
exactly.
can really, sort of, you know, um, just hold us back from like really putting out giving it the full, whether it's investment, or whether of time or money or whatever it needs, to just like, you know, um, fully back what it is you're doing wholeheartedly, and just put yourself out there fearlessly, So anyways,
No, I totally understand where you're coming from with that. Yes, like, is this worth the investment? And there are moments. I've had the exact moments where it's like, do I want to continue doing this? And then it's interesting. And then I meet new people that will say, "Oh, I listened to your show the other day. It was really great." And it was just, and that's like that reinforcement. And sometimes I found that I can't even put too much judgment on who's receiving it, but just be happy that the right people are receiving it. They are, and they're giving me the energy to say continue. So yes, please, Amai, continue your good work. Yeah, because I've learned through your work, through other people like Kalisa, who introduced me to your work when she's doing her show. And so it's like, yeah, you'll be surprised. sometimes I know because we're not going through the mainstream avenues. So it's like organically finding and connecting with the right people and reconnecting. So yes, I totally understand the process. But yeah, I hope there are little things that or big things that keep you encouraged, like with issue. So you had some good replay success with issue, and it's a beautiful song and teaching tool as well. But did you want to talk a little bit about the experience of putting the music and video together?
Again, the song is something that I it came to me in prayer, and I use it in prayer all the time. And then sort of trying to find a way to translate it. Um, Again, so when I'm calling the spirits, or honoring the spirits, like I'm not with a whole band or whatever, right? So find, a way to translate that, and bring the right instrumentation that all just uh, facilitates, supports the original energy of the song, and embodies, I think, what at least my experience of a certain face of a shoe is, which is, um there's a bit of fun there, but
Yeah.
not to be taken lightly. There's a bit of fun, in terms of like, uh the ancestral voice that comes through in the verses, like, um yeah, there's a lot of comedy involved, and he's playing with us, and it's
Yeah.
a way of
Well, it's a
learning.
trickster, right? So that is
Yeah,
the part. Yeah.
yeah, and that can have very serious consequences. Like the play can be quite, um I would say, even dangerous if you're not careful. But so it's kind of, and he has these different natures. He has a child side, all this that you kind of see in the video. He has a child, avatar, or part of him that is childlike, and part of him that is an old man,
Mhm.
and part of him that's kind of more the, um I guess, middle aged or whatever. But the sort of
Mhm.
the main face that you see of a shoe, um, and so trying to find, again, artistically, the best way to really embody that energy, which of course is just my, like, these spirit beings, right? They're many faced. They have different relationships with everybody.
Mhm.
If my version is not like the version, I think that's the beautiful thing about our traditions. We're not about saying like this is the way.
Yes.
So this is when I say my issue. In fact, in the tradition, like, actually everybody has their own issue. So this is, yeah, in some ways this is me singing to and thinking about issue as I connect with him, which I think, I feel like there's a value in that to share with people. Um, yeah, I think it's an energy that he's an energy that is worth paying attention to, especially for African descended people. Getting to know, um, he's very humbling, right? He teaches us that, like,
Ah, yeah.
there's always something out of our control, right? And so it's like the reminder to always honor that fact, that
That
element in life.
balance, right?
Yeah,
That
that, like,
balance
you
of
can you can
life.
exactly, you can plan everything to the T, but like there are things that just
But
always
come the moment, that's what's really gonna happen. That's how it's gonna unfold, right?
exactly.
Yeah, that's a very good lesson. That's a very good lesson to understand about life. Yes, and not having, like you were saying, like being a part of it, but not having a sense of complete control. There has to be some room for discovery. There's got to be some openness. Because I don't know about you, but sometimes I get the most exciting surprises when I kind of let the guard down a little bit and say, okay, let this in for a minute.
Hmm.
Yeah, this might be better
Absolutely.
than I thought. So, yeah.
I think, I never thought about this before, but like naturally this song kind of came out in a bit of like a soca, calypso, kaiso vibe. Like, my mom is
Yes.
Trinbagonian, and so that's part of my background. I actually haven't incorporated that much of that energy into my music before, but like specifically like soca, calypso styles.
It's
But
nice.
I think it, for some reason, like, it makes sense that it came out with Eshu, because again, like, I mean, as a person of Trinidadian background, like the energy, like our national energy is one of, like, very much about play, and like almost to the sometimes too much, where it's like
Yes, I've
penetrating like
seen
the
I've
too
seen some
serious.
traditional carnival footage and it's like, yes.
Yes, exactly. So, so that's what Trinis bring to the world is like the ever the endless play, and sometimes there's even the expression trickidadian, right? A
Yeah.
trickidadian. So yeah, in
A lot of
line, in
issue
line.
going on there. I know. The play on words, the play on the music. You're never sure where we're going. So yes, I like that though. I like that duality and the way it brings in different elements. So yeah, thank you for that. So what's on the horizon for you?
That is a good question. I will say I will own that I don't entirely know.
Beautiful.
um, own the great mystery, like just be acknowledge that. But we are putting out. I say we. Again, speaking to the Amai Kuda Les Bois aspect. So we've released a shoe. We're a week away from the release of Oshun, which is the next
Yes, I'm looking forward to that
single.
one. Hmm.
Yeah, and I guess you might have got the sneak peek. Other people wouldn't have heard it yet. And again, similarly, like right, it's sharing this energy of the water, this water
The
deity,
water orisha, yes.
the
Beautiful.
freshwater orisha. Yeah, so sharing that, like, just really, again, it's a song that came to me while I was at the bank of a pond, and where I was honoring her, and I feel like the songs often, especially in that situation, was like a gift from the spirits, but also for them, which is one of those odd, seemingly contradictions of spiritual things.
Yes.
Um, and so yeah, again, this song is even more like it's got a bit of an Afrobeat vibe. I'm very
Mm.
curious to see how it's received. Because to be honest, like I don't like to pick favorites, but I vibe the Oshun song. Like it speaks very much to um it's closer to the music I'm listening to right now, and I
Hmm.
guess a place where I stay more often energetically. And so I would say it's one of the songs that I still
Embodies a
especially
really good
visually.
element. It's like yeah, she's like the beginning, the Caribbean kind of beats, but now you're going into that the Afro beats discovery a little further. Yeah, and Oshun is carrying you over there. So yeah, I'm glad you're able to make that reconnection. That's really
Yeah,
cool. Yes,
yeah,
and
it's a
when
song I
when does
enjoy a lot, so I hope people do too.
I think we
Sorry.
will. I think we will. We'll get the energy. No apologies. And please remind us when this album is coming out.
So the album, we haven't officially announced the specific date. It's in the fall because we'll be
Awesome.
releasing singles leading up to it, and the singles are coming out with the visual material, which is all animated. And what we just announced on social media yesterday or a couple days ago was that, like, we just let people know, they might have got a hint of it from looking at the issue video, but basically, what we're building towards is a pilot episode of an animated series that we are working to create and working to pitch to networks and stuff, because the story that's behind the songs, and that's kind of unfolding a little bit around them in these videos, it's my story, but it's also more than my story, in the sense, I think, like, the journey of reclaiming and reconnecting to African spirituality is something that so many of us so many of us are on that journey, and it's such a critical time around that right now, just after 500 years of having these things, these traditions, um, taken from us or severed or kept away. There's a
Yes.
yeah,
Locked away or disguised in something else
yes,
and not realizing it is our own. So yes, it's beautiful to
exactly,
have that reconnection and understanding of
yeah,
ourselves.
and
Absolutely.
I think it's a revolution that's happening, right? Like, more and more people are opening up to that, to reconnecting with that. And I don't think I call it a revolution. Like, I think people sometimes think, I don't know, spiritual things or whatever, they don't necessarily see it that way, as a political thing, but it is very political. Like,
It
I don't think it was,
is. It
yeah,
is because exactly what you said. You second guess your own music, your journey. Can I put this out there? Can I call my show Jali Journey? Do I have the right to do that? In any other circumstance, I wouldn't have to second guess. I would know if Jali is the way where I'm going. I would know these things. But now, yes, it is definitely the emergency and everything. We do have to, yeah, bring out ourselves and then share that. So I'm so glad you're doing that. It's definitely a revolution. It's revolutionary to be Black. It's
Yes,
revel and
to survive.
you know, I woke up today and I'm a revolution by existing, you know? So I might as well do it the way I want to and the way, the way that that feels good to me. And I'm glad you're doing that, Amai. I'm glad you're sharing that part of yourself. So it's just, yeah. So thank you.
And I hope it gives some, I think that the more we see these things, like the more you tell your story and I tell my story, and next sister tells hers or brother tells his, or the more of us do this, it gives encouragement, it inspires, I think, and shows those who are coming after, or even sometimes it's even older people, right? They're like, oh, I can do this, like I don't have to
Yes.
be, you know what I mean, I can, like there's going to be a bit of a challenge in reclaiming it, right? It's not going to be easy
Mm-mm.
reclaiming our stuff. We don't know everything that we would have, as you said, we should have grown up knowing. That
Mm-hmm.
being said, that doesn't mean we don't have a right to do it and that we aren't right to do it, right?
That's right. We are the ones to do it. So I'm glad we're doing it. Thank you so much. And any last words to share?
Yeah, I guess please enjoy. I hope people, like, I think the first two songs definitely, and there's there's a couple other tracks that are very much danceable, like, you know share your feedback, engage, like we want to have conversations with people too, especially because the work is about these deeper things. I want to hear what people's thoughts are, if people are understanding the stories in the video. I'm going to do some posts about that, but yeah, we really want to have a conversation, because it's an opportunity to engage, to educate and be educated, to actually connect and dance, please, share your
Yes.
videos if you're dancing to the songs. Like, we want, yeah, this is about, I think music is always about community. It's a bit weird in a digital age where it's like you're over there and people are all, we're separated physically, but I think it can still be a really powerful way to, like, actually connect to people. And I would love if people, feel comfortable to connect back and share share their experience of it. So
That sounds wonderful. Thank you. So thank you. Yes. Thank you, Amai Kuda. And yes, thank you for sharing that integrative and reconnecting and approachable um, style to community, and bringing that together and taking leadership on that. And also, of course, for sharing EmUrgency, that we look forward to hearing more and sharing more in the fall about. And I also wanted to thank my technical director, Karen Young, bringing this production together. I'm Kejo Buchanan, and this is CJRU Artist Review. Ashe.